Why do we say that Jesus Christ is our Savior? What did he save us from? I'm Patty, and today we're going to use our own rocks and pebbles to create a depiction of our Savior and talk about our love for him. Let me first show you the shapes of rocks you might want to use to create this with me. It's really quite simple. We just need a body. I showed you two examples here, but any rectangular long rock is going to be perfect. And then we'll also want to have arms, and that can just be skinny rocks or wide rocks, but something long to be the arms. And I like to add hands, so I get these tiny little kind of roundish oval rocks, something we could use to show hands. Of course, we need a head, and you can have anything that will just sort of kind of fit on top there to be the head. And then we'll need some feet. And you don't have to have feet, but it's always fun to add some feet. And I've got a few different options that we'll play with here. Now I have another video that you can watch where we talk about where to find the rocks, what shapes to get, and how to build your rock art collection. So make sure you see that video as well. So grab your rocks and your supplies and make sure you have a towel to protect the surface that you're working on. And let's get started. To build this beautiful picture that we are going to make of our Savior, first let's have a body. Now any long rock that you have is going to work just fine. I've got a couple different long rocks here, and I think I'm just going to start with this one. Now, if we were making a person today or making a depiction of you or me, we might use two different rocks, one for the top part like your shirt and one for the bottom part like your pants. But back in the time of Jesus, they wore these long robes, and that's why we're choosing easy and just having one rectangle for the body of Jesus. Now let's put a head on top. And I always use circles for heads or some kind of oval, and you got to play with your circles and try each one out because you have different sizes and shapes are going to look different, and you don't know until you put it down and try it out. Like sometimes you have really big ones and you try it and it changes the whole picture, but it works too. So in truth, you could use anything you have. But recently I thought, back in the time of Jesus, they often had longer hair than we have these days. And that was their style. They just didn't cut their hair as often. And so I thought, well, could I find a rock that just looked like he had some longer hair? And I was really lucky to find this one. It's kind of a square with a little bit rounded on the top. And I just kind of thought that looked a little bit more like maybe Jesus would have looked. So do you have your body and the head put on now? I also, if you tilt the head, it gives it a little bit of expression, like maybe he's looking at someone or something, and it just makes it a little bit more interesting. So I always like to tilt the head a bit. Now let's get some arms and legs on here. And I got some longer rocks that we could use to try out. And let me just bring a bunch of longer rocks in because I look at my whole collection and I bring every rock that might work and I just keep trying them out. So if we used, let's just try this arm. We put an arm up there and then we put another long rock over here. We'll put his arms down, a little bit more reverent maybe. Okay, that works, right? You just need to put two stick rocks out there. This one looks kind of long or maybe too short, but until we try lots of things, we don't know. And then I like to I'll put those out. Let's add some feet. And now we can just here's some long rocks. You see how long rocks are so useful no matter how short or long they are? Now, if I put two little ones out here, it looks like 2 feet. So we're kind of done. And that might be what you have. But if you have more rocks to play with, I want to show you some things that start making it look even a little more refined and maybe a little more like it might have looked back when Jesus was here over 2,000 years ago. So first of all, if this was you or me that we were making, these rocks would be fine. But since he's wearing these robes, he probably also had robes flowing over his shoulders, so it would have been a little bit thicker. So look at these thicker rocks that I have. Let's even try these two. Those are a little thicker, and I put them on. And does that look a little bit more like he's got some robes flowing? And then if we have some hands, which are just little tiny round rocks that come out of the robes, maybe that looks more like it. But as I look at that, it kind of looks like he has puffy sleeves. And so I don't want that one. So I'm going to try something else. How about these? So these are a little bit longer, and I put them on and stick his hands on there. And now it looks like he has giant arms, so that didn't work. But how about these are a little shorter? So I'll just maybe turn this around and maybe put this around. Look at that. That's starting to look more like his robe here. And then what if we put his hands in there? Maybe these. I'll just stick them on there. That's looking really good. We could try these other hands, but that looks pretty great, I think. You want to see the other ones look like? You just keep trying them out. Maybe turn them around. Okay, I think any of those would have worked just fine. Okay, how are we looking so far? His feet. Now the feet are fine. We could put them down like this, and I think that's a little bit more realistic because probably their long robes didn't go to their toes. Probably that would have drug in the dirt and got really dirty. So it's probably a little higher where you could see the ankles or something. So that might work. I also found these interesting rocks. Look at these. They're kind of bent. You may have heard me say before, whenever I find a rock that has a curve to it, I keep it. And I found these and they kind of look a little bit more like legs and a shoe all in one piece. So let's try those. Oh, look at that. Oh, I think that looks pretty good. So that's how you can create a person with the rocks. And as we make a robe and wider sleeves, it starts looking a little more like our Savior. But what's most important is when you make your rock art and you show somebody, you need to tell your story and explain, and then they'll be able to see what you see. But sometimes they can't see it until you explain it. So when we started this, we talked about our Savior. And why do we say that Jesus Christ is our Savior? What did he save us from? Well, I would love to hear your answers, but let me share just some important ways that he is our Savior. First of all, he saves me from my mistakes and sins, and he helps me change and become better. So that makes him my Savior. He also saves me from death because he was resurrected, which opened the way for me and everyone to also be resurrected and live forever, never to die again. So he saved me from death. And how about a third one, that he saved me from all of my hurts and wounds and sadnesses because he will heal everything. He saved us from many things, so I hope that you will share what he saved us from with your friends and family so that they can have hope and joy in our Savior as well. I know that our Savior loves us. And the more we tell the story about our Savior, the more happiness and light and joy we will have in the world. Thank you for helping us spread the message. Okay, until next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.